know the vibes. It's the new movement, DJ Drewski. We got our special guest that if you ever looked at the periodic table, Element J is not to be found, but he is here today.
Yes, sir.
Hanging out with us.
Hell fucking yeah.
Is that part of like the name, the whole periodic table? There's no J in there, and
That was
that's
part
who
of
you
it.
are.
Yeah, it was basically, so the way I came up with that name, it was basically like, I was thinking like that. I was thinking in terms of the music industry and what I've been hearing at the time. And this is like going back to 5 years ago. And I just had felt like for a little while, like there was some element or some aspect of the music that was missing, where like a lot of the music started to either sound the same, or just the message in it was just very low vibe, or the message in it was just constantly the same, just doing the shit that sells. And I was like,
Right.
my name is Jordan, so that's where the J comes from. And
Boom.
I want like to bring a new element into this shit, like a new aspect, a new sound, a new wave that can actually help people feel good, literally fucking heal them, whatever it is, but still making amazing music that shakes their soul. So that's where it was like Element J, a new periodic table, a new element in the music industry. And then
Right.
it just kind of also ties into the spiritual thing too, because there's elements to everything. There's elements to life and symbols and signs and shit everywhere if you pay attention. So
No, we're going to talk about some of the messages, especially the ones that you spread is all positivity. But the name, Element J, you said that's like, how long have you had that name?
that's been 5 years now.
Was there another,
Yeah, 5 years.
was there a rapper name before that?
No.
You don't have like your first rapper name or the first name you came up with?
I got a first producer name.
Okay.
My first producer name is Zaytones. And
Zaytones.
All my friends started roasting me for it because they're like, well, they just thought it sounded corny, but then they were also like, that sounds like Zaytoven. People started
I was
telling
going to
me
say,
that.
that's really close to
Yeah.
Zaytoven.
And my last name starts with a Z. It's like ZAR, so I was like, Zay, like I could do that, but something about it honestly just didn't feel like me. It almost felt like part of my ego trying to like, I don't know, it was like,
Right.
like a confidence thing. And I was like, Zay, like, no, it's not me. Just do something different. And then I just settled the Element J. Actually, I didn't even like it at first, but then now, just like where I'm at now, who I've grown into, and
It makes sense.
it makes sense.
It just makes sense. Some things just
Yeah.
make sense.
And it sticks though, honestly. I don't think it sounds bad. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I think the more I show myself to the world and create my brand, the more people will just fuck with it. It'll just stick, you know?
Right. Now, because you mentioned producing. Producing came first, then writing,
Yes.
recording came after.
Producing came first. I was musically inclined my whole life, so like I started playing drums at a young age, and then did some shit like in the talent show with that. And I started playing the cello in elementary school. So like music was always there. I just gravitated towards it, and it's been in my family. So then 2016, like late 2016, I started producing. I copped FL Studio, started making beats, and then late 2017 is when I found my talent as an artist. And I always knew it was there, but I was almost like afraid of it, or I didn't feel worthy of it. I was like,
Right.
I can't be a rapper. Like, that's not me. Like, I'll just stick to making the beats right now. But then, yeah, it all came full circle. A couple years later, I started recording myself, learned how to engineer myself. Super valuable. Like, if you're an artist, definitely learn how to do that. You don't have to do it all the time, but just the more
Just
parts,
to know how to do it. Just to
Exactly.
be able to have that ability to say, hey, I want this to sound like this. I'm going
Yeah.
to change it myself.
and it helps you to understand your sound more too, and understand what you want to sound like. And then just having more knowledge will always help you in the end of the day. So,
Right.
yeah.
Now, you said there was musicians in the family?
Yeah, so my dad and his father, my grandfather, passed away. He was in a band, and then my dad wanted to do music growing up, but he never did it. But the passion, it was in the blood. It came from there.
Right.
Even though on my mom's side of the family, too, I definitely had some music influences. It just wasn't as much. But definitely both sides. My dad, he's the one who kind of like led me to playing the keyboard, like the electric keyboards, and then I would listen to like Akon and 50 Cent and like Ludacris.
Because I was going to ask, outside of the family,
Yeah.
who was inspiring young Element J to like do music, hip hop music?
Yeah, Lil Wayne was the first one. I was 8 years old. I was in 3rd grade, and I was checking my email for some game I wanted to play online, and then I saw Pop Bottles featuring Birdman. And I just clicked on it, and I just started hearing the song going and the synth, and then the bass drop, the 808s, and I was like, yo, that's fucking crazy.
Right.
And then like I had never heard anything
I
like
want to
that.
do this.
Yeah, pretty much. And then even everything, like the style of it, like the Washington hat, like I went and got a fucking the same exact hat, like the style. I had long ass curly hair, so
Right.
I was like, that's similar to dreads and shit, like, you know what I'm saying?
That's the
Like,
closest I'm going to get to Wayne's hairstyle.
but it felt good and it felt natural. And like every time I listened to anything like that, it just set my soul on fire. Like my mind would be blown, and then
Right.
that's how it all really started. So
Shout out to Wayne, because that's pretty much
Hell yeah.
influence, right? Like using the music, using the platform as influence to have young Element J's around the world want to be like that, right?
yeah,
But
definitely.
your message and your influence is a little different, right? If they follow your journey and follow you, we're live on TikTok right now, but just some of the
Yeah.
things you post is, you know, just to keep people woke, to open that third eye, to
Yeah.
spread positivity?
It all happened on accident too.
Talk about it.
Basically, so I'm graduating high school and I'm like, do I want to go to college? And like, I know my parents wanted to go to college, but I really just want to make music. I feel like I'm going to waste my time, whatever. Me and my friend were talking about like the music industry and shit. And then I don't want to say too much just for like certain reasons, but started learning about some things and just like things that happen behind the scenes in the music industry. One thing led to another. It led me to learning about ancient times and like ancient Egypt and all the symbolism and the third eye and the all-seeing eye, the whole woke thing. And then literally my third eye, or my pineal gland, because that's what it is. It's an actual gland in our body. It's not like some fake thing. Opened, and I started sensing things and feeling things, and like I was like, this ability, this part of me had awakened that I never experienced before, and it changed my whole life. And then before you know it, I'm like seeing signs and synchronicities everywhere, and the way things are lining up in my life, it's like God's timing, universe time. Like there's no way I could have done this. There's no way this could have just happened the way it did on accident. And then it really just, it led me to just finding like the most authentic version of myself, which is really what it comes to at the end of the day. It doesn't matter. I'm not a conspiracy guy. I'm not like trying to be something that I'm not. I'm literally, my whole thing is like help people become who they want to be deep down inside, and like fight through all your shadows and your demons and defeat that shit and overcome it and come out on the other side into the light and then live out as who you want to be and manifest your dream life. So that's what it really comes down to. And the third eye thing is just about awareness and having inner knowledge about who you are and learning how to trust your intuition and develop it and things like that. So
do you feel you're still going through that process, or you found your full self at this point?
I think I'm still going through it. I've definitely found myself, and I've tapped into that frequency and like connected with that higher self version of me.
Right.
I think now it's just a matter of like maintaining it, and no matter what life's throwing at you, maintain and hold your frequency that you want to experience, so that you're not being a victim to your life. You're still creating your reality. So like, if something's happening in my life that's throwing me off, I don't want to revert back to that old self feeling who would be dealing with that old situation. I want to learn how to be like, no, control my mind, and also let the universe do its thing to then feel, like physically actually feel, not just lie to myself the reality and how I want to feel. So it's like also it's taking control of your emotions and then not letting outside shit get to you. But it's a lifelong journey. It's a soul evolution thing.
I was going to say, it don't just happen overnight. It's almost like practice too, right? You got to practice those abilities or that way of thinking. Because
you got to practice it. You got to apply it. You got to trust in it. You got to roll with the punches too, because like shit was dark for me for a really long time, and they call that the dark night of the soul. But you come out on the other side, and then with all that darkness, you just understand how to maintain the light and keep that where you want to be at. So it's a lifelong thing. It's a long conversation for sure.
Do you feel like it's affected your music in any way? You know, when you go back and listen to older music where you were, you know, in that dark place that you spoke of.
Yeah.
And then now you listen to some of the new stuff. Do you hear a difference, or just, you know, the content you're talking about, the picture you're painting? Is there a difference in your music?
I've developed so much. And like when I listen back to those older songs like 4 or 5 years ago, I could hear the sadness in my voice. Also, I wasn't as developed as an artist, so my voice was very flat. And my voice was almost like girly sounding, kind of feminine sounding. So now I've developed as an artist so much, like even going through the hardest times in my life, I'm so passionate and I love music so much and being an artist and everything about it. So I just kept doing it. And that's another thing that kind of helped me to keep faith and keep going and keep pursuing what I'm trying to do. Because now I'm at a point where I feel like the product of my voice and who I am and my brand and the way I sound is so good. And now it's like, this is what I'm going to show to the world. So I had to kind of go through a fucked up time and learn how to roll with the punches, and when life throws shit at you unexpected, and learn how to survive. But now I'm at a place where I've definitely developed. My music's grown. The messages within my music have grown, and just everything's kind of expanded a bit more. And I feel more authentic now, 100%.
For, you know, anyone that may be watching or live with us on TikTok, if they're in that position, in that dark place, and they feel stuck, what are like some of the early steps to take to kind of get out of that, right? Because I'm sure there's many people that were in the same position you were in, where you felt like, yo, I don't know what's going on in my life. I don't know where I belong, who I am. How does someone get to where you're at? Just, you know, quick steps.
Yeah.
The first approach.
Be honest with yourself. Take accountability. Don't try to suppress shit and stuff it down. Like, face it, acknowledge it, understand where everything you're feeling and going through is coming from. Because once you understand that, then you can change it. You know, in the simplest way, just keep awareness and be fully honest with yourself, because that's how you set yourself free, instead of kind of trying to always protect yourself, but then it's keeping you stuck in a place where you don't want to be. And also just keep faith, you know what I'm saying? Keep faith and stay optimistic. Shit will change. A lot of shit just changes with time, and keeping hope. So, yeah.
And listen to Element J, because if you tap in with some of the
too,
music,
100%.
you know what I'm saying? You can live through you, because you speak a lot, especially in some of these records I heard.
Not even just trying to like on some shit, like for real, like, because my music, that's what I do, is like I want my music to literally heal people. Shout out Jaleel, because like he's one of the only artists I see that's like came up right now on the same kind of shit. Like he said, I don't know, I think it was Hip Hop Revolt or something like that. He's like, I want my music to literally inspire, more than inspire people, like heal people, cure people, feel like so energized. Like that's what my music does, and that's everything that I do. That's what it's about. So it's not just, and it's not corny either. It's great music. It's like, it just, you combine a good message with good music, and then it just has a greater effect on people. So definitely tap in with me. Yeah.
Is that the approach now when we're making these records? Is like, yo, because there was one record you said, yo, we just have fun. I was in the bad space. I said, yo, I don't want to overthink it. Let's just make a party record.
Yeah.
But you know, now moving forward, I don't know if you're working on a project, you could answer that, but is it like, are we getting a project where it's mostly motivational, tap into yourself type of records?
I would say, yeah. So pretty much my plan right now is drop singles till something blows. Once that happens, have a project ready, drop it. For that project, I want to show the world like mainly what Element J is about. So empowering people, inspiring people, awakening people's souls, opening their minds, showing them how to heal from their shit and live out their greatest life as their greatest self. But I'm also on some fun shit and cool shit and regular shit too. You know, like I like to have fun. Like I'm not super strict. It's not like a
religious.
It's not a religious thing. No offense to anybody on a religious thing, but it's a free spirited, open minded thing.
Right.
And it's on some shit like that. But I like make party records too and like do fun stuff. Like I'm not just on that kind of shit, you know.
So. When you're not in the studio, what is Element J? What are you doing for fun? Like, what do you like to do?
So for fun, probably catch me in nature. Definitely meditating. I like working out. I like skateboarding, scootering, hitting the skate park. I like linking out with my good friends who I genuinely love and sharing some drinks, sharing some joints, having a good time, talking about life, traveling, meeting new people, going everywhere, like regular shit, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So, you're not just in the studio all day.
No, I got a life too. All outside of that, you got to keep balance, because that'll drive you crazy. I've done it before, and even sometimes still, where I'm just like home studio, and I'm like, it's getting to the point where I'm not even productive because I'm not also living life and having fun. So you got to keep the balance, like middle path, like have a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Because you take from those experiences, those life experiences, you're pulling from to put into your music. So if you're not living life, what are you pulling from? You know what I'm saying?
You run out of things to talk about, and you run out of songs to make. So you got to be constantly experiencing new things and tapping into the unknown, and just also have fun, and don't be so hard on yourself. Like, this shit is not that serious. Like, we make mistakes, we fuck up, roll with the punches, forgive yourself, keep going, you know?
And you said it earlier, like, find that middle ground. Like, enjoy it, have fun, but don't go extremely, like, you know, I forgot how you said it, but it was like, yo, find the middle ground. Don't just fuck up all the time.
Yeah, like,
don't be careless.
Don't be overly careless and too careless, and then don't be overly serious and too uptight. Like, you got to have an equal balance of both, because that's what just keeps you in a coherent state of being and living a life that feels normal and not stressful and weird and disconnected, you know?
Right.
So
now,
big facts.
You performed live show yesterday. Shout out to Who's Up Next. Shout out to Mighty Empire Concerts.
Hell yeah.
Are we getting more live shows? Are you going to be outside performing?
Yeah, definitely getting more live shows. Nothing in this moment right now lined up, but there's a few options that we're looking at right now. We're pretty much just going to get as many shows as we can do, and just interactions, networking events that we could do, just because I want to get myself out there on the scene and get more comfortable with being out there and just, you know, feel more natural in that environment. So definitely more shows, more things on the way, new music on the way. My first music video will be dropping soon on the way. It will be a World Star Hip Hop YouTube premiere. So
can we tell them the date, or we can't tell them?
12/22, February 22nd.
I didn't even know this. Tell them the time.
At 2:22 p.m. Because my whole thing, like, Juice WRLD was like 999. I'm not biting, but like my thing is 222.
Right.
That was the first synchronicity number I started seeing when my soul awakened, and it was literally following me. And that number basically means like, follow the music. This is your path. Because that was the message every time with it. It was always music related. But yeah, the song is called True to Myself, mixed, mastered, engineered, produced by me. will be out on all platforms. You can pre-save now on Spotify, so go check that out. You can hit the link in my bio on Instagram at @elementj_, TikTok at elementj, and yeah, it's gonna be dope.
Yeah, there it is, Element J. New music coming, new video coming.
Sir.
222. He put me on. I didn't even know you could time it to come out at a certain time.
Hell yeah.
Is it 222 a.m. or p.m.?
PM.
PM.
I didn't want to do it midnight because I'm like, I haven't blown the fuck up yet. No one's gonna see my shit. Let's
Right,
do
right.
it afternoon when everybody's awake and shit, active. People will see it. You know what I'm saying?
Smart.
That'll change though, you know, because
Right.
we're not gonna be
As he
underground forever.
grows, things change too.
Hell yeah. So
Element J in the building, a new movement. DJ Drewski. Make sure you tap in, go follow him. We outside. Let's go.
let's get it.